Yo, what's up? It's Anthony, and today we are gonna do another ad. And this is by the famous Eugene Schwartz. And if you don't know him, well, he has a really expensive book. It's called The Breakthrough Advertising. I think it's around like $400. But anyway, let's get started on this advertisement, this legendary ad that he made himself. And the starting title is How to Defend Yourself Against the Human Parasites Who Want to Rule Your Life. Alright, so let's get this, let's first analyze the headline. Let's see where the market is and how aware they are. So they know based on this headline that they know that they have a problem. They know that there's someone out there, someone just leeching, their life energy, but they don't know what the solution is. So Eugene crafted this headline to target that specific. It's like, okay, this is your problem, and they're like, yeah, this is my problem. And before we dive in, let's take a little look in the structure. So you see, human parasites and like big caps, defend yourself. These are like very like, it's like you're trying to protect yourself. And the way he's setting this up is in the sub headline, which we're gonna go over. He's gonna be like, yeah, and then these are your pain points. So he's like defending yourself, because like it's like a very, I don't know how you put it. It's like a very fighting words. But anyway, let's look at the structure. So you see it's a typical, paragraph, headline, paragraph, headline, paragraph, headline. Right here is where it's a little different. So you see how there's like pictures of ordinary people. Let's say John, Jack, Susie and Mary, all right? And, I like those names. But anyways, you can see how they're ordinary people. And if you see this headline, How to Defend Yourself Against the Human Parasites Who Want to Rule Your Life. And you see these pictures, you see these ordinary people like, oh wow, yeah, I know someone like Jack, I know someone like John. Could they actually be harming my life? And that's the point he wants to create with these pictures. These ordinary people who are just part of your everyday life could be ruining you. So he's setting this up, if I'm right, he's setting this up so that he's basically gonna like wrench your heart, he's gonna like jab you in the face with all your pain points and be like, this is our solution. So let's get started. How to defend yourself against the human parasites who want to rule your life. Okay, so that's the pain point. People know what it is. This may be the most important as well as painful advertisement you have ever read. It is based on 3 simple facts. So right here, let's break this down a little bit. So you see, as well as painful. I was right on the money. Basically, he just wants to target, like, this is the truth. This is where we're gonna unveil everything, what's ruining your life, and it's because of these simple concerns. So another thing is he uses the word 3, and 3 is something that's very common. Like if you think about it, 3 is for like our digit codes or like like the street lights. And the reason why we like 3 is because it's very simple, but it's also very digestible. All right, so let's get started. The first opening sentence. So this is where you want to catch the reader's attention. So it says right here, most people spend 90% of their time doing what other people want them to do instead of what they want to do themselves. So right here, after doing much research, he determined that you have you have dreams. Everyone has dreams, but you specifically have dreams and ambitions, and there's something that's causing you that's not your fault. You never blame the person. You blame something else. There's something out there that's causing you to not chase your dreams. And then he reframes it. He goes, this is robot living, and there is a way to break out of it for good. So so what's he gonna do next is this whole paragraph. He's just gradually building the pain point. So it's like a jab, a stronger jab, and then like a right hook. It's like you want to beat the person bloody with all these pain points. The thing you want to be careful when you do this approach in your sales letter is if you make it too painful, they're not going to want to buy from you. You want to like hurt them enough while giving them some hope. If you like beat them like bloody, they're in the corner crying, they're going to be thinking about that instead of a possible solution. So you want to be careful of that balance between too much pain points and not enough pain points. So let's go to the second point. Most people are haunted by self-destructive feelings. All right, that's a pretty intense word. Feelings that frighten and depress them, and will always remain a second-class citizen. On the crunching, realize you have always felt poor, no matter how much money you earn, and always feel inadequate. So here he's just like, he's going into your self-esteem. He's like, he's digging in. He's like, man, there's something wrong, and he's trying to reframe it. He's trying to create a frame where this is a type of living, but this is a type of living you don't want. And this type of living is called, what do you name it? Robot feelings. And this is what you're currently going through. And this is not the life that you want. Let's go to the third point. Because of these two crippling, the attempt of others constantly exploit you with your own. So use the self-destructive again. You accomplish only a fraction of what you are really able to accomplish. You find yourself, from your real enjoyments to real achievements to real meaning of your life. So right here, let me zoom in so you can actually read it. But basically, it's just, he's creating a huge contrast. He's like, you're in robot living, and this is away from your life. And then he's like, okay, after all this pain, like, what's the solution? And he goes, a new kind of psychology that says, forget your past, forget your feelings of inadequacy, and take full command of your life today. You know, he doesn't say like next week, he says today, all right? I'm just saying, he's like, you want to change your life, you can change it right now. And you can see how he tries to reframe it as, so let's break this down a little bit. He says a new kind of psychology. When you say a new kind of something, it's going to pique your curiosity. And he says, forget your past, forget your feelings of inadequacy, and you can take control of your life. So that means like everything that's happened to you, it's changeable. So now he says, all of this has happened, but we can change that. That's the whole premise of this headline. And right here, this is what I really like. He creates a huge contrast. He's like, there's people who, you know, are gamblers, they're alcoholics, they're failures in life, and, you know, they're the people who stuff themselves up with with food till they swell up like a, you know, Willy Wonka, all right? And even these low, you're at the very bottom if you have this. Even these people were able to do it and change themselves of their own volition. And the whole purpose of putting this line is when he does this, he wants you to reframe it as, if these people who you have some serious addictions are able to change themselves, then someone like me who doesn't have as serious of an addiction should be able to change myself. So that's the whole premise of these two paragraphs right here. And you can see it, and it's startling and simple and effective. And this is where I really like. I think this is like one of the key phrases. Instead, what you have to do is unlearn the mental habits, and you don't need to learn anything at all. No rules, no formulas, no lessons at all. See, rule of 3. Keep that in mind. So basically, he's saying this is super simple. You don't need to learn anything. You just need to unlearn everything, which gives the premise, because what you think about is learning. You know, you think of like a book and spending hours reading and studying. But when you have to unlearn everything, it creates like, okay, so all I have to do is go back to a time when I didn't learn that, so that I can become a more confident and better person. And from the person's point of perspective, even though it's incredibly hard, he make it seem very simple. So, you know, he goes into unlearn the mental habits and make you automatically magnify other people's importance. So here's some bullet points, but he uses the word unlearn. See, boom. 4 unleashes. All right, unlearn. All right, unlearn the mental that make you automatically feel small when you meet an important new stranger. All right, and you'll have twice the impact from the very first word you speak. Now that's something I would like to have. You know, if that's something I would like to have, man, what the person reading this will be like, yeah, I want to be confident. I want to be strong, confident. You know, let's see. Unlearn the mental habit to depend on other people, and you can go out tomorrow and carve out a big slice of life as you can swallow. Now that's a hella cheesy line. Now that might have been, you know, that might have like resonated with the audience, but you wouldn't use this line in in today's sale. Like you could, and you could split test it, but I think it's kind of cheesy. But you know what? It's a legendary ad. It must have worked. Okay. in fact, this is so drastically different that it would actually reshape your idea. Like love and respect and success actually means. It will expose deadly psychological traps. You can see that his words are like very impactful. Like it's very concise, but it's very, it's like very, it's like in your face kind of. Okay. Liberation, freedom, false fears, false friends. Look at that. You don't even realize it, but he uses alliteration right here, which is something that's unconsciously we're attracted to, because it's very, like Peter Piper had a pipe, just like it's very fun. And I'm pretty sure he did this intentional, because with copywriters, you want to make every word you have intentional. Because of this goal, the startling which brings, here are just a few of the traps it can free you from. So you can see the word traps. So this means, I like the word traps because it means like it's something that you didn't intend to do. It's like it's something that happened by mistake that wasn't your fault. And that's one of the things you want to do when you persuade someone. You want to make sure that you show them that it's not your fault, because when it's not your fault, it's so much easier to blame someone else than take responsibility. That's how human nature is. It's just, it feels great just like giving the responsibility and blaming something else. All right, and that's what he does right here. It's subconsciously he uses the word trap, so it's like, yeah, I didn't mean to step on the trap. It wasn't my fault, and this is how you get out of the trap. The only way is to win other people's hearts by satisfying yourself first. So that's a very cliche line in our self-development. Might have been brand new to them. This is an old ad, but it's very cliche now. One word of warning, however, this book is full of paradoxes. So right here, he's setting it up. He's giving them like a cliffhanger. It's like, be careful though, or just watch out. It's like this is something you do where people they perk their ears up. If someone is talking and droning and be like, yeah, in the woods, just be careful about one thing, and they'll be like, huh? It'll grab their attention. That's the whole point of that's why you see attention, the words like warning, so that people who see that, they're like, oh, what? It catches their attention. Ridiculous at first. Okay, so right here, here's the bullet point. So this is a very cliche but still effective way today, is the bullet points, but using page numbers. Because when you use page numbers full of bullet points, or like here on page 215, it uses the rule of being specific. When you're specific and you have actual proof, like, okay, yeah, if you want to go to page 215, this is how you find this. But if you want to have another problem, you can go to page 61 to solve this problem. And it makes it like, wow, I do have this problem. And all I have to do is go to page 61 and just skip everything, just go straight to it. And when you're specific, it makes it much more believable. And when your ad is much more believable and people trust you, it's so much easier to sell. So let's see how he creates his bullet points. Shows why you must never try to justify yourself when someone belittles you. So right here, it makes sense to me, but back then he creates a contrast. It's like, shouldn't you try to justify yourself when someone belittles you? And shouldn't you do something about it? And he's like, all you have to do is do nothing, which could have been revolutionary at the time. And I was like, all you gotta do is just do nothing, and just it's all in the body. If I have to assume this, it's all in the body language and all how you react, and it'll be that's how leaders react, something like that. That's what I'm guessing. Page 66 shows why the person who's trying to overwhelm you is actually begging you for the one thing they can't buy. And you can see naked under their, I don't even know what a mink coat is. If you know what a mink coat is, just let me know in the comments below, alright? I'm kind of curious what naked under their mink coat means. It sounds kind of dirty. Page 24 shows you what are not true emotions, but are the disguises. It's I don't know. Basically, every single bullet here is a contrast to what you. It's like breaking your ideas of what's supposed to be, but then this revolutionary way. So let me see. Shows why when you feel guilty, you can double its power. And then, and starting, you're forced to confront the supposedly unsolvable personal problem. If it's unsolvable, it should be unsolvable, but apparently, it's solvable. It's kind of these contrasts where it's like, it's not, it goes something against your expectations, but with doing less work, you can get, double the results, which everyone's gonna, like, if you have this problem, people are leeching off of you, you're gonna want that. Once you stop fighting the problem and let it begin to cure itself. All right. Read it from cover to cover, entirely at a risk. And here's the guarantee. Just send me the coupon. You don't need to send it to the Fifth Ave, New York. Just send me the coupon. Maybe I'll give you some tips on how to defend yourself. All right. But let me see here. Plus, so much that we can't even begin. This is probably the simplest and most beautiful. So this is a very odd choice of words, in my opinion. Beautiful is, I actually don't know why he would put the word beautiful. That's something like I would put if I'm like trolling a little bit. I guess it's something supposed to be like, eye enlightening, it awakens your beautiful soul inside. Or maybe he was just, he was having fun. But he put that word for a specific purpose. And maybe people resonated with the word beautiful back then, but I don't know. If you called this book beautiful, I'd look at you with strange eyes and probably agree. All right, let's see. They are hard-headed and unruly. Today, your typical guarantee. You can get it right now. Your urgency. Right here is where it gets really interesting. So beware. Be careful. Like warning, these four types of human parasites. And what he does right here is he reframes it as the givers and the takers. And the givers are the people who give, and the takers are the ones who take. And then basically this whole paragraph is like the takers have hundreds of disguises, there's hundreds of takers, you don't know which one's a taker, but there's archetypes of them, and you want to be careful of these four people. So the reason why he does this is he wants to give you information, like legit information of people that you would encounter. So he's thinking from their perspective. Like let's say my name is my name is Anthony, but let's say me, like this is who I see, at work, and this is my friend, Jack, and then this is my crush Susie. These are, or like Susie is like my crush at the supermarket, and then this is who I see, as my neighbor. He picked people that are very ordinary and normal because he wants to highlight that these ordinary people are the most likely people taking advantage of your life. And he's like, wow, this is, when they learn something new, when they learn something like, yeah, this could actually be true, it creates more believability. And as I said before, as it creates more believability, it creates more trust. When it creates more trust, it's a lot easier to close a sale. All right, just keep that in mind, because if you can master that, you will make a lot of money with your sales letter. All right, the takers have 100 different and you want to unmask them, to expose the hidden selfishness behind their so-called noble and throw them off your back. You see how he makes it dramatic? He's like, unveil it, show them who they really are, so that you can defend yourself, and then you could live your life of ambition, And then he goes on, the perfectionists. Always make sure that you will never succeed. And one thing I noticed was that he makes it generic and vague, but specific enough that people can possibly relate. And that's very important. You want to make it vague enough so that many people can relate. It's like, yeah, there's that one person in school who always talks down to me and makes sure I never succeed. Every time I raise my hand, and getting good grades, they come down and belittle me, and that could be like a representation of perfections, or the injustice collector. You see, it's like superhero names. Controls you by continually giving you guilt, and these are like bullet points. As long as you meet one of these people and they can relate to it, it creates a sense of like doubt in their mind. Like, yeah, this could actually be true. Let me read more about it. And then they read the first copy, and then as copy is supposed to be, they'd read through the whole thing. And hopefully by the end, they'll buy it. So right here, oh my God, they're calling Susie the human swamp. Oh my god. Susie, how could you? How could you, Eugene? How dare you say Susie is like that? Alright, never tells you how weak and passive, independent, the love dominated, the most vicious of all. It's just very. I like the way he does it. It's like very fun, but like the reason why he creates names for it is because it's a lot easier. Instead of putting like someone like Susie, it's a lot easier to remember the name the Love Dominator. It's just like these random names that you just call someone. It just sticks on their mind much better. Cause like he's using powerful words like your Dominator, Human Swamp, Injustice Collector, or is it Perfectionist, and the greatest sin of all, the sin of obedience. It's like these, like if you look at it, you don't use these words, or I don't use these words in normal everyday talk, and they're universal. They intrude in every life, and here's like they clench fists and these kind of wrap around you, giving them power to dominate. And right here is what I see not a lot of sales letters do. The choice is up to you. So basically, he's giving them like an ultimatum. Like the choice is up to you. You can enjoy your life, or you could let them take control of you. There's no other option, and there's one or the other. And if you want to enjoy your life and have the best chance of that, well, you probably have to learn who they are and change yourself. And it gives them a sense of like, yeah, this could actually be right. And let's see how he ends. The key to such a choice lies in this book. So why not read it from cover to cover on our risk today? So yeah, that's about it. The one thing or the two things I would change is right here. Two things I'd consider split testing or change to make it better is right here is to unmask them. So right here, I would use a different word because right here, when you say unmask, it implies that you have to do some work, and it sounds like you're gonna confront them. And the problems with confrontations is that it creates conflicts, and not many people like conflicts. So the way I would reword this is learn who they really are, learn the truth, and then let them disappear from your life. Because when you put it that way, there's no conflicts. There's no way of like possible struggles or conflicts and it's like you know who they are, and it's so much easier to just avoid them once you know who they are. Because like once you know that they're leeching from you, you could just like walk away instead of just when you say unmask them. It sounds like you're gonna confront them like, hey John, I noticed you've been taking my dollar bill away from me, something like that. And the second thing I would change is, I believe is right here, but he says in this new psychology that is so drastically different that will actually reshape. Saying it's really new is actually a double-edged sword. The reason why this is because when you say it's so new, it's like, wow, yeah, it really piques up the curiosity. But when it comes to buying, you want to make sure that when it's too new, people are they're risk averse. If it's something too new, it's gonna seem more risky, and when it seems more risky, it makes them less likely to purchase. Now, it may not be the case for this book, because this book is probably, it's not like you're buying a new car. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're driving a car, driving let's say a Honda Civic, has a steering wheel, it's a good car, it has wheels, has everything. But let's say there was a new car coming out, a self-driving car, the new Tesla, all right, the new Google car with no steering wheel, no seat belt, no gas pedal, no wheels, all right. It's floating, all right, and you just have to trust this car. Now that sounds really cool. That sounds like the sci-fi future, right? It's like, whoa, like a flying car with no seat belt. Just put my entire trust. That sounds pretty interesting. But would you drop, $50K on it and be one of the first people to try it? Or would you be, let 1,000 people try it and then determine, if it's worth it? Most people would be in the second boat. It basically determines how risk averse you are. Most people would be like, yeah, you know what? It sounds really cool, but I'm going to let other people try it first before, I decide to buy it. And that's how most people are. That's why it's a double-edged sword. That's why I would reframe it as something like the new normal. This creates a be like, yeah, this is just like every other psychology, but accept this one different thing, which is becoming the new normal. This is something that everybody is who wants to change their life is jumping onto, and they're seeing results. You know, I reframe it as a new normal rather than saying drastically different. That's how I would improve this ad. All right. And that's all for Eugene Schwartz. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and peace out.